Welcome back to the Ricky Mathews Show. Unfortunately, Jeff got tied up, Jeff Duncan, and it's fine I really enjoyed catching up with my buddy Kyle. We don't get a chance to visit on the air very often. Jeff will be back next Friday, but he's got a lot going on right now, and we'll tell you more about that when we get with him next week. But enjoyed catching up with Kyle. Hey, recently I had the opportunity, as I've mentioned on the show, to go to the Casino Hall of Fame Awards at the Beau Rivage, and it was a packed house, and it was a terrific opportunity to sort of freeze frame the moment on three leaders in one organization that have had such a dramatic impact on coastal Mississippi. Mayor Haley Barbour, Chevis Sweatman, Bobby Moak, who was the former chairman of the Gaming Committee in the House of Representatives of Mississippi, and then the Engelstadt Family Foundation, who I got to work very closely with in a number of different ways after Hurricane Katrina. It was great to see that. But one of the interesting things about being there, as I've mentioned, I don't really get out in public too often, maybe 5 times since 2016. I'm saying in an official capacity where I'm actually either giving a speech or just attending a big event, really 5 times, maybe 4. But since 2016, that's amazing actually to say that. Now, I go to the store, I go fishing, and we go have dinner and stuff. There's no question about that, and I get a chance to interact with people. But when I get a chance to go to something like a gaming meeting where we're focused on the Hall of Fame, so many leaders are there. All the major casino leaders are there. I got the chance to visit with John Ferrucci and members of his team, and Joe Billheimer, the former head of Hard Rock, was actually in town. He's representing another group of investors that may be making a big investment in coastal Mississippi at some point in the future. And it was just great. And one of the cool things about getting out in a group like that is I get a chance to see how much people are paying attention to this show. I was quite amazed. So many people I had the opportunity to chat with wanted to talk about this show or that show, or that they listened to the show, and when they, that's the channel that's in their car when they're going to meetings and whatever. So I appreciate you guys paying attention. It makes a huge difference that we're able to reach so many people, especially people in leadership roles. That's why, like, for example, the focus on the One Coast recipients, I've really enjoyed those conversations. We have so many dynamic leaders that are making a difference, and the fact that we're having these ongoing conversations with One Coast winners, that you get a chance to be inspired by the example that they're setting. I'm fortunate to be here. I'm humbled to be here, and I appreciate you paying attention. Now let's shift gears. Speaking of leaders, one of my favorite here in coastal Mississippi is Tish Williams, the executive director of the Hancock County Chamber. And without any further ado, let me just say welcome back to the Ricky Mathews Show. Tish, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Ricky. It's good to be back.
It's great to see you. Listen. When I looked at the sort of the bullets you sent me of the things that are going on, the Hancock County Chamber, just as with the Jackson County Chamber and the Coast Chamber, you guys are sort of the center of so much that's happening that is not the traditional role that a chamber would play. You're having important leadership roles to play and putting on big events that bring people together, that are giving people a chance to hear from CEOs of all stripes that are making a big impact, not just in Hancock County, but also for Mississippi. And you guys take that role very seriously, don't you?
Yes, and in fact, our theme this year is so appropriate, is connecting you to build your business. And really, that's what chambers do. Bring people together to work toward common goals.
Yeah, and you guys, my goodness, you're doing that. A good example of that is the meeting, your mid-year meeting that's coming up on July the 20th. It's a chance for elected officials, private sector, and nonprofit leaders to kind of come together. In fact, at that meeting is when you do the Jody Compretta Person of Passion Award. But that's just one good example, but that's an important meeting for you guys, isn't it?
It really is, because it gives our members and really everyone in the community the chance to come together, whether you're a member of the chamber or not, and hear these updates that are so important to us, from the Hancock County Board of Supervisors to the Hancock County Port and Harbor Commission to the chamber and our nonprofit foundation. And really, together, we are partners in economic development. And to be able to have one place, Hollywood Casino, thankfully Gulf Coast, where we can all come together and hear these reports and really celebrate all of the great things that we are doing together for this community and really for the entire coast.
It's when you look around Hancock County, whether we're talking about the Stennis and Michoud relationship, Stennis being such an important bookend here in coastal Mississippi, and as Jerry St. Pé has warned us, don't get complacent, don't assume that the blue chip industries that are part of Stennis are always going to be there. We got to stay focused on it. And you and I have discussed this before, and have had the leader of that effort on this show a couple of times. But the reality is, Stennis has a way of being sort of out of sight, out of mind. I mean, that's just the truth. And if we don't stay focused, we could lose some focus on that. But also, just in general, Hancock County's over there, and you guys are constantly trying to make sure the spotlight is on this economic engine for coastal Mississippi. You got the Hancock County Port and Harbor Commission that's got tremendous responsibilities and responsibility for this huge footprint. And you've got, what you're doing, what's happening downtown, what's happening in the real estate industry. I mean, literally, you can just break down every single sector. It's unbelievable how well Hancock County is doing in this moment, isn't it?
I agree. And I think that the way that our county was developed, where you have all this business and industry going on, like Stennis Space Center, like our casinos, and really they're sort of neatly tucked away, so that it doesn't take away from the quaintness of the community and the ambiance of the place where we live, the sense of place. But it's right there. It's in your backyard. It's an economic engine. And as one of the admirals said many years ago, he goes, "You're a Navy town, but we don't know it because we don't see, like Annapolis, we don't see people walking around the city in their out their naval uniforms, but we truly are a Navy town." Here we are, making the most significant impact on getting the first woman and the next man of color on the moon, onto Mars and beyond. And our people in this region are the ones who are making this happen. This is international significance.
Hey, listen, Ann and I were over within the last 3 weeks to have dinner with our friend Josh Morganman, who, as you know, is on Weather Nation. He has his own reality TV show. He chases hurricanes around the world. He literally would have the world record on being in the largest number of eyes by any living person in the world today. But he's got a very successful marketing business in L.A., but during the hurricane season, he's going to be continuing to live in Hancock County. In fact, he's building a house there. And when Ann and I were there to have dinner with him, I love the way that draws me to your place, because it gives me a chance to be reminded of something I say all the time about the wonderful sense of place that is in every community, and Bay St. Louis is no exception to that rule. And to look out over the harbor, I can't help but remember after Hurricane Katrina, when the idea of why don't we have a marina at Hancock County, and people were saying, no, we can't do that. I mean, how would we ever be able to do that? And now look where we are today. The city, the rebirth and renewal of the city, the reemergence of Old Town, the marina, and the restaurant growth, and the Pearl restaurant, and all these people moving in, and the price of real estate and the price of land. And it is a renewal of incredible proportions, really, when you think about it.
Well, there's no doubt that the Bay St. Louis Harbor, the Jody Compretta Marina, that was the catalyst that rebuilt our beautiful downtown. It gave people the confidence that they needed to be able to invest in their own businesses. And that's what's so great about Bay St. Louis, is it's so many homegrown, local, small businesses. And they're here to stay, and they're passionate. They care about their product, their service. And that's really what makes this the place that everybody wants to be.
Yeah. And then you've got You know, the center of conversation tends to be around Bay St. Louis for a lot of good reasons. But, Waveland's got its vision, and the explosion of real estate sales and opportunity there has been tremendous. Diamond Head continues to flourish. Stennis continues to flourish. Wow. I mean, you just add it all up, and it's super dynamic. Hey, when we come back on the other side, we'll continue our conversation with Tish Williams, and we'll talk about, speaking of Stennis and Michoud and that incredibly important relationship, we'll talk about a really important meeting that's coming up on August the 30th, and we'll talk a little bit about that, and just lots of cool stuff going on as it relates to new space. We'll see you after this. Welcome back to the Ricky Mathews Show. I have my friend Tish Williams. I say this a lot on the show, Tish, that some of the best conversations happen during the break. So we were talking about how some people with great memories blow our minds, and anyway, Tish is a great leader, and she said that some things she can't remember. But what I've learned about people like you, Tish, is that you are humble, and what makes you so damn good at what you do is you do remember people's names and relationships, and you're able to connect people. And the key to success as a chamber leader is all about connecting with people, though, isn't it?
It is. It's really been a blessing to have this opportunity to be the chamber director for so many years now. I'm still here.
Isn't that amazing? It's really amazing. And when I recall some meetings that actually happened, in late 90s, and then I think about, okay, it's 2023. I can remember meetings back in the late 80s, that I was detailed, engaged in the community. I start to feel pretty old after that. I know you do too, but we're able to draw on that wisdom. And listen, when you see something like the meeting you guys are going to have on August the 30th at the Infinity Science Center, and the kind of people you're able to draw from, man, it's incredible, really. The number of people that you're engaging and what they do, isn't it?
It is that they would take the time from their busy schedules to come and meet with members of Partners for Stennis and Michoud. We are, citizens who are advocating for the robust funding of the NASA budget, for the robust funding of Navy budgets, because it means jobs and economic growth for our citizens. And so it's important for us to hear firsthand information from the Naval Meteorology and Oceanography Command, the National Data Buoy Center, NASA Stennis Space Center. We have new leaders now with the Mississippi Enterprise for Technology that are going to tell us about, an aerospace and defense consortium that they are putting together. So there's a lot of great things happening. There's a lot of new strategic plans that are being developed, and then bringing it all together to work toward that common goal. Really, that's what it's all about. And Partners for Stennis and Michoud helps bring the citizens to these resources at Stennis Space Center.
Yeah, I mean, so not only are you guys playing an important role in keeping those conversations going and making sure that people like Dwayne Armstrong from the Strategic Business Development Office for NASA and Stennis, and Davis Pace, you mentioned Davis, and Sarah Moss from the Mississippi Enterprise Technology. Not only are you bringing those people together, especially people who are new in their positions, to give them a chance to kind of get to know others and people get to understand what their strategic goals are, but it helps you guys get aligned so that when you go to Washington and do the things you did recently in Washington to let new legislators understand what Stennis is and why it's important to the nation, you can leave no stone unturned in your efforts to communicate, because you're always one vote away in Congress from something not getting fully funded that should have been funded. And you're very aware of that, aren't you?
Yes, and we did get to go 2 times to Washington, D.C. this year, first to meet with the freshman members of Congress. There were 100 freshman members of Congress. And then we went back in May to meet with all of the members of Congress through our national coalition, Citizens for Space Exploration. Citizens is the key word. They want to hear from their constituents. They want to know that what they're voting on counts back home. And that's why we are so important to this entire effort, because as citizens, we're speaking with one voice that funding the NASA budget, funding the Navy budget, doing what's right for job growth is important to us as citizens.
Well, speaking of outstanding citizens, you got your awards gala coming up on August the 24th, where you recognize citizens and businesses and nonprofits and industry of the year. And as you pointed out, there's just more for me to be able to talk to. But you can't do enough of that, because I think recognizing them gives them due credit for work that they're doing. But as we do with the One Coast Award, it holds them up as an example for others to follow. To me, that's the more important part of it.
Well, and it's, none of us are doing what we do to seek recognition. But when you receive recognition, it feels good. Nobody can say it doesn't. And so that's what this is all about, is just stopping and just saying, you know what? Thank you. Thank you for everything that you're doing to make this a better place to live for all of us.
I saw that Coach Young Professionals is going to recognize you as Forever Young award. I got that a couple of years ago, and I loved what you said. It's confirmation that you're going to be able to work forever because you're so young. Do you actually feel that way?
Yes, because I don't have any hobbies. So what would I do if I retired?
Yeah.
So,
well, congratulations.
Let me tell you why I got nominated, because, I have been honored to be the MC for several years now of the One Coast Awards, something that John McFarland, God rest his soul, did for so many years. They were like, Tish, you're the new John McFarland of the One Coast Awards. And so many people got this Forever Young award. I was like, I want that award. So thank you, Coach Chamber.
Hey, y'all got a trip coming up to Egypt. 14 travelers are going to do it. You're actually talking about going to Normandy for the 80th anniversary of D-Day in the coming years. It'll be cool to talk more about that the next time we get together. But we're out of time for today. Tish, it's been a pleasure. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. Continue to do the work that you're doing. Stay focused, and you're important to all of coastal Mississippi, not just Hancock County. So God bless you, my friend.
Thank you, Ricky. God bless you.
You bet. Have a great weekend, and we will see you on Monday.